Yeah, how many years have you been on that commission for?
I believe I've been on the commission now about 6 years.
Charlotte County Sheriff William Prumel is one of the 19 members on the Criminal Justice Standard and Training Commission.
That's not what a law enforcement officer does.
This board decides the fate of an officer if they are found guilty of a moral code violation, including excessive force.
Case number 47021.
FDLE does not track excessive force complaints. They did tell us in an email that they track the sustained cases sent to the commission.
When it comes to excessive force cases, if a case was found sustained, that should be sent to you guys, correct?
Yes.
But 10 Investigates discovered that's not always the case. Take, for example, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. While there were 4 sustained excessive force cases within the department over the past 10 years, we know half of them didn't make it to the state. This man settled with the city for $90,000 of taxpayer money after an excessive force complaint was filed following an incident with him and a deputy. That incident resulting in a plate having to be surgically implanted into his face. That officer was put on leave and re-educated. In 2018, an administrative investigation was launched after a deputy was seen punching an inmate 3 times in the face. According to the report on that excessive force case, the force used was unnecessary given the level of resistance from the inmate. But that case never showed up in any of our documents from the state. We asked why. In an email, the Sarasota Sheriff's Office told us this case was never sent to the state because it only violated our internal policy. But according to this FDLE manual, a moral character code violation is a non-criminal act of conduct, which includes excessive force. When we showed the Sheriff's Office what we found, they sent us an email explaining, since your inquiry, we reached out to FDLE for clarification. We have chosen to update our practice to submit all sustained excessive force cases to FDLE going forward, and then take the case of Daniel Daly.
I idolized him. You know, I mean, he was just a great dad. You know, I mean, he really was.
Greg Daly says a day doesn't go by when he doesn't think about his father, who passed away last year.
He was almost too nice.
So when he got a call letting him know his 84-year-old father was in the hospital after an encounter with an Orlando police officer, he couldn't believe it.
He broke the C3, which is called a hangman's break. That's what snaps when you get hung. It says people don't live when this is broken to the extent this is.
To pick him up and slam him into the ground like he did. It was hard to watch because literally his feet were in the air.
Tim Scott owned the local bar nearby and witnessed the whole thing.
And they just pile drived him right into the ground. It was way too much excessive force.
Daly was later rewarded $900,000 from the city of Orlando for his excessive force complaint, but there was never an internal investigation conducted regarding excessive force, so it's not part of the state statistics.
I'm not sure what constitutes excessive force then. I mean, other than that, I mean, to be brutally slammed to the ground. An old guy. It wasn't some muscle guy. I mean, yeah, it was an old man.
Now, this was all uncovered as we tried to track excessive force complaints at Bay Area departments ourselves. How many were sustained and sent to the state? We found some departments didn't have that information readily available, so it would cost us hundreds of dollars for that answer. Other departments had the info, but like the Sarasota County case, not all agencies were reporting sustained cases to the state. And like the Orlando case of Daniel Daly, his case was never investigated by IA, but Orlando police officials tell us that if this would have happened today, it would have been investigated, which shows us the discrepancy in numbers even just 10 years ago.
To get a really great picture of excessive force complaints, if there needs to be training done, anything, it's just kind of, we don't really have a good picture of it.
No, and I would say we probably don't have a really good standard database that covers all different levels of excessive force.
My name is David, D-A-V-I-D, last name of Thomas, T-H-O-M-A-S. I am a professor of forensic studies here at Florida Gulf Coast University.
Thomas is also a former law enforcement officer of 25 years.
Do we have a good grasp of how many excessive force cases there are or have been in the state of Florida?
Nope, and you never will. even though there's, let's say, even if we have a universal standard, which we don't, you have to understand that there is an operational side to the way a police department operates.
Thomas says universal standards mean a state statute that defines exactly what excessive force is.
Until they actually decide, FDLE and CJSTC decides, we're going to train everybody the same, all the supervisors, this is going to be the universal thing, and then this is how we expect you to look at it, and this is how we expect you to report it.
But the data is not easy to find right now. That's the honest truth. It's not easy to find right now. You just got to hope that your law enforcement leaders are doing the right thing.
And there was a federal law passed more than 30 years ago requiring the Attorney General to collect these complaints. But 10 Investigates discovered that hasn't been done. We have heard from state leaders who are currently looking at the legislation now and considering changes that need to be made going forward. You can find the data we did collect from local agencies as well as the statewide database on our website right now. We're continuing to push for answers and we'll have more for you as the year comes to a close.